All right, so Daniel, tonight we watched Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, and that road was furious. Let me tell you. And this is kind of what I'm like when I'm furious. Oh, I'm angry, man. I'm pissed off.
And this is me when I'm Furiosa. Oh, I've only got one arm. I've only got one arm. I'm Furiosa.
And this is me when I'm Fury Road. Vroom. Vroom.
And this is me when I'm full of free.
This is me when I'm a furry. I enjoy putting on an animal costume and having sex with other people in animal costumes.
And this is me when I'm fur. You can only get this one on the video.
And this is me when I'm free. It's just me. I'm American. God bless the US of A.
And this is me when I'm can. Dink. 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 Someone's kicking me around all over the place.
This is me when I'm can't. No, sorry. I'm not gonna be able to. Sorry, I can't. Just
this is me when I'm tint. There's a bear outside. Be careful. Be careful. There's a bear.
This is me when I'm tint. I can't see in the window. It's dark.
This is me. This is me when I'm tin. Dink. 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 Dink.
And this is me when I'm Max Rockatansky. I'm mad.
This is me when I'm mad.
This is me when I'm mad. I'm Max. My name is Max. He says that in the movie. That's a reference to the movie we watched, Mad Max Fury Road.
Mad Max Fury Road, man.
And that's a movie directed by George Miller, like all the other Mad Max movies.
Before we jump into it, though, drop a like on this if you're watching on YouTube.
Hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. I don't want to interrupt you. Wait, no, it went away. Thanks.
I'm still waiting.
I think you're good. I think it's gone. I can still feel it, but it's I feel it fading.
I'm gonna wait.
No, I'm telling you, dude. Like it's gone.
Like a fake little e-girl sneeze.
Yeah,
I'm gonna wait.
I don't. I'm telling you, like, I mean, you can keep waiting, but I don't feel anything. It's chilly. Yeah. Huh? Well, I guess yeah.
Before we get any further, drop a like on this video on YouTube if you made it this far somehow. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, go ahead and review the podcast.
And send it to your maddest friend, someone who's just like pissed. Like if you're friends with me, you'd send this one to me for sure.
I was also going to say send this to someone with one arm.
Oh yeah, or someone with no legs, because there's also a person with no legs.
With no legs, specifically someone who's just a little bit overweight, but
right.
Not bad. He's got like, my build.
Not by like today's standards, but like
by a post-apocalyptic standards.
Right, yeah.
Also send this to someone who has a lot of kids with different baby mamas.
Right, for sure. Yeah, and send it to all their baby mamas too.
Right. So they can fight about it. Put them in a group chat together.
Right. Yeah.
What else? What else we got?
I don't know. Send it to your dad. This is a father movie.
Right. Send it to Daniel's dad if you got his contact information.
Yeah, if you know my
Daniel's dad, if you're watching, I want you to send this to people who you think will also like it, who do or don't know Daniel. Anyone.
Yeah.
And all your baby mamas.
Right, all of them. Send this to just like a real low life piece of shit. Just like,
we already said to send it to the man with 2 legs, no legs.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What?
Oh, Mad Max
Oh, are
Rockatansky.
you Max?
Did you know a blind man plays guitar in this movie?
Yeah, but it's not just a guitar. The guitar is a flamethrower,
It's a flame throwing
and it
guitar
throws flames. It doesn't just
because it's
shoot
a
them; it
guitar.
throws
That's what
them.
guitars do, though. You sound
Well, no, usually
surprised.
they just kind of play music and go.
You might think that,
Yeah,
but that'd be incorrect. So what they're
really.
actually for is guitaring. I mean, flame throwing.
So,
So
Dalton, do you want to tell us what
yeah,
happens in
this
Mad
movie
Max
this
Fury
movie
Road?
opens. I would like to first say this is in my
Mhm.
top movies of all time. I love this movie so much.
Yeah,
I've
and
seen
this
it
was my
before. Daniel
first
has
time,
not.
like with all the Mad Max movies, but the tail end of or the first one. It's my
Which
first time
is
viewing it at
so
all.
crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's the way it should have been. I should have stuck to that. Should have just only watched the first one. It's the best one. It only gets
Yeah,
worse from there, really.
right. Yeah. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I've seen it so many times, and I love it. And her, the movie's a her.
Is it
Anyway,
really?
the movie opens with Max, and he's got real long hair, and he's in his car,
Yeah.
and he's eating a two-headed lizard.
Yeah, it opens on the two-headed lizard. First, it
Right?
looks like a normal lizard, then it's like, oh, he's got two heads, and then oh, he got
You
eaten.
thought it was two lizards,
I did, yeah. Well, I feel like
and
the way they framed it, it like looked like it was either just one lizard or then it was I
yeah,
don't know.
I
It
think that
looked
was on
funky. It was
purpose,
cool.
probably.
Whatever, man. It's a lizard. It's a
So he eats
talking
the
dog.
two-headed lizard, and then he gets captured by some very pale white dudes with black eyes,
Yeah.
and those white dudes with black eyes want to use him for his blood, which is high octane blood. It says.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, they tattoo that on
they
his
tattoo
back.
that on
It's
his back.
awesome.
It's so cool. Um, and then the movie just kind of starts. Like it doesn't really begin.
Yeah.
The story doesn't really begin. It
No, it
just
pretty much it
starts.
just opens and you're
You're
in,
in the middle of a car chase.
Yeah,
At the beginning
it's
of a car
just like
chase, admittedly,
yeah. I
but
mean, it kind of does seem like it clearly isn't the middle because he's stopped, but it's like they do
well, and they don't
just
set
seem like
anything up. Like
right,
Furiosa,
right,
Furiosa just gets in the car and goes, and everybody's celebrating. And this man called Immortan Joe walks out, and he's got fake abs, and he's disgusting looking. He's got
right.
sores on his back, and he walks out and he says, "We're going to Gas Town to pick up gas or deliver
Gas. We need
gas or
gas from
something."
gas something. There's gas in Gas Town and they need it,
It
or they're
doesn't matter
putting it there.
really.
Point is, they're going to Gas Town, but
Um,
they're not going to Gas
but they're
Town. Look
not
at
because
that.
Furiosa takes a left turn,
She's
and that's
sneaky.
when
She only
Immortan
got one arm.
Joe goes and checks, and this sets up the plot of the movie. So basically, this lady Furiosa who drives their big rig, what they call it, a war rig, right?
The
She
war
drives the
rig,
war
yeah.
rig. Um,
Charlize Theron, she was in Arrested Development. She was British and had a small brain.
right,
True
right.
fact.
She was. What did they call her? E. What
I
was
don't know,
it?
mentally challenged.
The
Rito.
Mr.
Oh,
E.
Mr.
Yeah,
Mr. F. Yeah,
Mr.
Mr.
F.
the mentally challenged female.
Right.
Wait a
Mimic
minute.
F.
And the MCF, yeah.
But anyway, so they realize like she's going away, so he goes to check out this room where he keeps his concubines, and they're all gone. And this sets it
Right.
up.
He
Basically,
went to the hoe room and there were no hoes.
right.
Like,
Morton Joe has a bunch of concubines, and the idea is in this post-apocalypse, so many babies are born funny that he wants strong heirs, like he wants
yeah,
strong children, and so he has these concubines so he can crank out as many kids as possible, so that hopefully a few of them come out able to survive in the post-apocalypse.
right. And at least one of them does. It looks like white Dwayne the
Right,
Rock Johnson.
right.
The other one's a little sort of deformed looking person with a
Yeah, I
floating
don't know
chair.
who the actor is for that,
I
but
don't know.
he's great in the
It's
few
cool.
scenes he's in. Yeah, it feels like one of those things where you just kind of have to hire whoever shows up to set that day when that's the
Right.
description. Unless George Miller just put deformed people in the casting call.
Which he could have,
He for
That's
sure could have,
entirely possible.
and
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past him in the slightest. But yeah, so that's kind of the setup, and then Furiosa, who is a lady who drives his war rig, takes all of the
Right.
women,
She
loads them
had
into
a
the war rig and
name, like
escapes them.
a title, but I don't remember what it was. It
I
was
can't either.
something like Sergeant, but it wasn't that.
Sergeant Driver Woman.
Right, that's what it was actually. Yeah, it was Driver, the Ryan Gosling character. The Ryan Gosling really me character. He drives.
So as she's escaping, because she's going somewhere else, we know that she's got the women with her, the concubines with her. She's going somewhere else. We don't really know where she's going. They just keep calling it the Green Place. And so Immortan Joe, the leader, he says, "Okay, everyone I've got,
he says,
chase these
go
cars.
get me my bitches.
Right, go get me my
He says
concubine."
all my potential children.
One of
all
them
you
is pregnant.
Right? Yeah, one of them is pregnant. But yeah, he tells all the weird little
War
freaks,
boys.
the war boys. Yeah, they're all weird little bald white freaks with various scarring and
Tattoos
black,
and black
and
makeup and
like
they're
some of it like carved tattoo, like tattoo scar
right, like
carving type
raised.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all
They're
weirdly
sick, they're
obsessed
dope,
with
they're fucked up.
I mean, they've been emotionally and physically and
Right.
mentally manipulated into thinking Immortan Joe is a deity, right? So that's a
Right.
big kind of plot point. They think Immortan Joe is God, and also a V8 engine is God. They pray to the V8,
Right. Yeah.
a lot,
And also, yeah, they, when they die, they go to Valhalla, kind of
right? They
stuff.
believe in Valhalla. They even
They
call it
want
Valhalla.
they want people to witness them. There's a lot of
Right.
that going on.
A lot of
Just wanna be
witnessing. They
seen.
spray their mouths with shiny chrome spray paint.
Yeah, they huff spray paint, I guess. I don't know.
It's basically just like as George Miller was writing the script, he just said, "Yeah, no, anything."
Yeah.
He said,
anything you would maybe do, you could see someone doing in the post-apocalypse. Yeah, we'll do it.
It's almost like he just looked around his garage.
Right.
Oh, my car's got a V8 engine. Okay, cool. They worship.
He's like, man, what would be some fucked up shit in the post-apocalypse looking around? Like, what if they worshipped the cars and they looked around the spray paint. They got high on spray paint and that was like their fuel.
I don't even know that they're getting high. I think it's just
it's just a style thing.
I think it's just they're spray painting their mouths silver.
Right. See, I assumed it was like that, but also they were just huffing it because they're weird little like.
I think the shiny chrome thing throws that for a loop because he says like shiny and chrome because there's no way all spray paint would be silver, you know?
Right.
I think it's almost like making themselves car colored.
I guess, yeah, they want to be more like a V8 engine.
Right.
Who wouldn't?
Right. I would love to be a V8 engine, dude. But anyway, so the war boys start chasing after Furiosa and strap Max to the Nicholas Holt is one of the war boys. He straps Max to the head of his car so that he can keep getting his blood because he's his blood.
He's
bag.
got a little IV through a chain. It's awesome.
And he's chained to him. Yeah, and
he's got the mask, the Bane mask. He's Baneing.
He is Bane. I'm Max. I'm mad.
You look like a big guy. For you. You look like a Mad Max. For you.
You look like a blood bag. I was a
blood
bag once. I'm so sorry.
We'll get there.
Anyway, so they're chasing. Max is on the front of this car, and it's instantly we're in a car chase.
Yeah, just right in it.
And me and Daniel have had a little bit of a back and forth about some things, but the car chase doesn't stop.
It's pretty much constant. Yeah, like it
stops. Like the action of it stops.
Yes,
but the chase never stops.
Right. There is a constant chase, or at least implication of chase happening.
It will happen the rest of the movie.
Well, because of the implication.
Somebody will be being chased the rest of the film. So Max is strapped to the car. Furiosa's driving the rig. The war boys are on top of her rig. They're fighting people from Gastown and Bulletville. No, what is it? It's Gastown and Bullet Farm.
Yeah.
The Bullet Farmers from the Bullet Farm. They're all chasing her for various reasons. Mm-hmm. And we find out a little later on in the movie it's because she's made deals with them to get through and to escape, and they're chasing her because of the deals, right?
Right.
But she's also being chased by Immortan Joe and the War Boys. So like there's three different
the
groups.
Gastown goons.
There's three different groups all chasing her at once.
Right.
And Max is on one of their cars. And it's super cool action. I don't remember anything in particular that happens in this fight scene. There was the spiky car.
Yeah, the spiky car that then gets used as like a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
And they attach like a harpoon to it. That's sick. It might be happening on the screen in the background if you're watching the video.
Yeah.
Check out the video if you're listening on.
Yeah, watch the video podcast for sure.
Not the video form. It's cool. It's fun. You can see us.
If you're on Spotify, just like open it up and you can see it. Yeah. So
shit
lots
happens.
of cool car chase stuff happens in this.
Yeah, it's just it's a car chase.
We're introduced really to Furiosa. Max has not said a word the whole movie.
No. His first word is water, I think.
Water.
Water. May I please have some water?
But Furiosa gets the idea. Oh, there's the bulldozer car.
Right.
Or the what landscaper? What's that called?
Yeah,
Bobcat?
The excavator.
Excavator, yeah. It's strapped to a car and it's also got spikes on it.
Yeah.
But Furiosa gets the idea.
A lot of spiky cars.
Lots of spikes,
especially in this scene. Yeah.
I think the spikes
Not
are
so
from
much.
Gastown.
Maybe, yeah.
And Gastown's not really chasing him after this scene. It's really just Bulletville.
Right. And the
Joe,
goons,
Milk,
the war goons.
Milkland. The Citadel.
Right, the milkman. The milkman.
So Furiosa gets the idea to drive her big rig, her big 18-wheeler, into a storm.
Right.
And she's like, I'm going to drive this thing.
As you do, where else
there's
are you
a huge storm. It's a ton of tornadoes.
Right. It's just, it's a million tornadoes and lightning. And also it's kind of like shaped like a wave in the one wide shot they show of it.
Right.
It's cool.
Which is awesome.
It's sick.
So she drives her big rig into the
war rig. Yeah.
The war rig. She drives into the storm. And then Nicholas Holt, who's got Max Rockatansky strapped to the front of his car.
Right.
Drives it following into the storm as well. He's then like, because it's like a Valhalla type situation.
Right. He like tries to blow himself up or light himself on fire, and also big explosion kamikaze kind of deal.
Right. He lets a bunch of gasoline into the rig of his car and then he lights a flare and he's about to drop it, but Max is able to grab it.
But Max says no.
He says
no.
Water.
He says water.
Water.
Chain. Cut.
Please give me some water.
May I please have some water? It would be very painful.
May I please have some water?
So, someone asked him. They said, hey, Mad Max, what would happen if you were in the desert without water and you were covered in sand and everything was orange? He said, it would be very painful. For you. For you. Someone said, hey, you look like a Mad Max. For you.
Somebody said, hey, why is it all blue? I was raised by the darkness.
I was raised by the blueness.
I was
born into it. Molded by it.
Anyway.
If I was green, I would die.
So, okay. All right. I figure now we'll just pause from the plot for a second. This movie's super orange.
This movie has two colors. And it is orange and blue.
And it's not like, oh, we're in the Middle East, so everything's yellow.
Right. It's not the TV desert, Middle East or Mexico filter. It's
just orange.
Right. It's orange.
I love the color grading of this movie because it definitely, I think, makes it stand out amongst other.
Sure.
Even amongst the other Mad Max movies, and really any movie ever, because it's so orange.
Yeah.
Like I don't
know that I would say that necessarily like adds to it, but it for sure makes it unique. Yeah.
I think it makes it unique, and I like it's very like heavily saturated. It pops out.
Right.
I think that it adds to the feeling of
it does.
Everything in this is excessive.
Stylistic. Yeah.
But it's super orange until it's nighttime, and then it's blue.
It's just blue. Yeah.
And they do nighttime with severe day for night. Like it looks like
Right,
Daniel's
right.
camera right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Not anymore, but it did a minute ago.
Yeah,
Now he's orange.
when it goes back to the blue,
Yeah,
yeah.
now it's nighttime.
This is nighttime.
So anyway, so they're in the storm. Nicholas Holt crashes
No,
his
daytime.
car.
Mhm.
Wake up, the storm has passed. Max is covered in
Max is just
sand.
drenched in sand. So orange.
It's so orange. Nicholas Holt is passed out in his car, so Max grabs him and carries him over his shoulder and the door to the car, which he must have
Right.
ripped off himself, under
Yeah,
his arm.
surely. Why did he bring the door?
Because the chain was through the door.
Oh.
Yeah, the
Oh,
chain was
I didn't
through the door. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I
I
mean, you
would've
could
just,
have
like,
just
pulled him through
slipped
the
Nicholas Holt through the
right.
window, but he
Yeah.
didn't. He carried the
But
door.
no, he didn't. He just carried
Which
the
it
big
came. I
ass
mean, it
door.
came in handy.
It's awesome. Yeah, it worked.
He
Yep.
carried it because he didn't have a weapon, I guess. But he did try to shoot off Nicholas Holt's arm with a shotgun, but the shotgun would not fire.
Yeah.
So he brings the shotgun, the door, and Nicholas Holt to the rig, because the rig is stopped to get sand out of the engine because it went through the storm. All the women are
Right.
showering and cutting off their chastity
there's-
belts
Right.
that have teeth on them.
Yeah, they do. They do have chastity belts with little teeth mouths with a.
Call that
Yeah.
a chast to teeth belt.
I probably won't. It seems kind of difficult to say.
Chest to teeth.
Chest to teeth. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's not that difficult.
It's not as hard as you think. Yeah.
No, it's just weird. I just don't like it. I don't like you.
Right. I get it. Yeah. So the chastity teeth belts, they come off. They're all taking a shower.
Throwing away their belts. They're
They're hosing it off because the
free.
rig, we find out, is filled with water and milk and a little bit of gas.
Right. Yeah.
I'd assume it's segmented off.
I guess. Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Who cares? They're taking a little bath in the desert, and Max walks up and he says, "Water."
And he's pointing a shotgun at them. And he waves the shotgun so quickly. He's like,
right.
Like, it's so fast.
Yeah, he's very
It's quirky. I like it a lot.
He's tweaking in this movie for sure.
For sure. We'll talk about that, I guess, at the end. I guess is the best time to talk about Max.
We'll probably get there. We'll talk about just how mad he was.
Right? I mean, that's the question. Was he madder than the road was furious?
Is that the question?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question.
that's the question.
That's the question. So anyway, Max gets mad. I mean, water.
Yeah, well then he asks them to he says he goes, bolt cutter, chain, cut,
and he holds the chain like by his head.
Oh yeah,
bang,
he's
bang.
like choking himself. He goes, for you,
bolt cutter, chain, water. Can I please have some water? I'm thirsty. I'm Bane, Max Rockatansky Bane.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he maxes and he rockets and he Tansky.
He tries to get one of the hose to cut his chain.
Right. After he got one of the hose to give him the hose.
Right. Yeah, he got the hose from the hose, yeah. But then as one is going to cut the chain, Furiosa tackles him
hard.
Gives him a little ass whooping.
Right.
Tries to shoot him with his own shotgun.
Tries to shoot him with a shotgun. It doesn't work. He hits her with the car door.
Right.
Eventually he just he gets the pistol, right?
He gets the pistol.
He shoots 3 times on the ground and then points it at her face, which is awesome.
Right, yeah. And then he shoots at the other the pregnant girl.
Right.
And he actually shoots her in the leg.
Right, skins her leg, yeah.
And then he tries to steal the car. Doesn't get far enough because he didn't do the little gadget gizmo thing.
Right.
And then one,
2 red
go.
Red black go. Black red go?
Shit, I don't know. It might be 1, 2, 1. I don't know.
I think it's 1, 1, 2. I think that's right. Anyway, that's the furthest thing from important. But anyway, so he doesn't get very far. Furiosa walks up and she's like, "Hey, I rigged this car. I rigged this rig. So that you couldn't steal it, actually." And he says, "Fine, you can get in." And then she's like, "Well, I want the women with me. And he says, fine, you can all get in. And so this begins
And
the
also,
journey that they're going to take together
Nicholas
as they
Hoult
head towards the green place.
gets in. Does he get in willingly? Like he
No, Nicholas
like
Hoult
hitches on the back or something.
Right, they like
He
punch
just kind of like
him.
sneaks. Yeah, they like leave him behind. He's still like relatively like he's not unconscious, but he's like he's dazed on the ground.
Well, Max punched him a lot.
Right. And also he was already like just barely conscious.
Right. He had just woken up from the
But then I think he like gets up and like hops on the back and
right, something like that. Yeah, he does that
he eventually sneaks he sneaks his way in.
Right. Yeah,
some shiesty stuff.
He does that a lot.
Right.
Because he's trying to fight for Immortan Joe. That's kind of his arc. His arc is like Immortan Joe is this deity. I think he's God. I'm gonna do everything.
He's just trying to prove himself. He's just this. Just a guy.
He's just Nicholas Hoult. He's Lex Luthor.
Right. He is Lex Luthor. Yeah.
He was rumored to be Batman. Now he's spitting venom.
Kind of.
Couldn't see him as Batman, and now he's spitting venom.
Tom Hardy was spitting venom.
Tom Hardy was spitting venom. That's crazy.
He was also spitting adrenaline, weirdly enough.
Not a
strange,
Childish Gambino reference.
No, it's a Eminem. It's an Eminem.
This is when Max asks Furiosa for the file.
He gets mad here.
No, this is when he goes feral and he gets the file and he's just
trying
to saw through his mouth cover.
Yeah.
Have we mentioned that Tom Hardy played Max in this, other than just saying Venom?
No, but I think people know.
Probably, yeah.
Like
Tom Hardy's in it.
Tom Hardy plays. It's not Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson isn't Mad Max anymore.
Right, but if you've never seen a Mad Max movie at all,
right? Yeah, well, now it's Tom Hardy. Remember Venom? Remember Bane? Whose face you couldn't see. Remember?
He was bald.
Other things Tom Hardy has been in.
Didn't he play that one mobster? What's his name?
Al Capone.
Yeah, he played Al Capone. I think.
Him. Yeah.
Call that man Al Hardy.
Call him Al Pacino. More like Dunkachino. What's my name? Dunkachino.
What happens next? They keep driving?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of that. Yeah.
There's a lot of they drive. Oh, this is when the people from the Bullet farmers from Bullet Town show up.
Right.
And she says that. She goes, "Oh, those are the Bullet farmers.
It's the Bullet farmers from the Bullet Farm."
Or from Bullet Farm. Yeah, they start chasing. And this is when they go underneath a big rock canyon thing.
Right, yeah.
And
this
is
basically one of the slow down bits, but not for long.
Right.
This is one of the shorter slow down bits.
So they're in a canyon. All of the Bullet farmers are up on the top of the canyon. And then Joe Mama is coming from the distance towards them. And she basically owes them gas. She's like, hey, I know I promised you guys there wouldn't be many people following me. It got unlucky, whatever. I'm going to release
me when
gas.
I lie.
This is when she tells Max the code to start the car. And she says, when I yell fool, I want you to drive it. And so that's what happens.
This is set up. She asks his name and that pays off for some reason.
Right. I liked that payoff, actually.
It was dumb, but it was...
It was dumb, but it was like
fine.
It was sweet and heartfelt.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they blow up the thing basically to slow Joe Mama down, and they wind up driving.
Joe,
right, Immortan Gold Joe Mama.
Oh. Then what happens?
They drive.
Oh.
Nicholas Hoult is once again on their car. This is another, like, the action picks up and there's another, like, segment of the car chase.
Right.
That's hard to describe because it's all just like a car chase.
At some point, Nicholas Hoult, when he's still trying to prove himself to Golden Joe, he, like, tries to fuck up the car, and then...
This is then, that happens in this little chase.
Then they... Something happens where they, like, think they kill him or something, but then he's actually just, like, hiding under the floor. One of the concubines hides him or something. Something happens.
I don't even know that
he's under the floorboards.
He's not even under the floorboard. You went out to pee, I think.
Oh, this could have happened when I was whizzing. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a little car thing on top of the car.
Oh, was that what that was?
Yeah, and that's where he's
Mm,
like he hides there and goes to sleep because he disappointed Immortan Joe basically and let
right, right,
the one concubine dies, the one who's pregnant, and they're not
right.
able to save the baby.
Yeah,
Basically, so when the whole thing collapses in on itself, Immortan Joe has a big car that can drive through it,
right.
and
Yeah, awesome looking
it's all
car.
yeah. And then as some stuff happens, some action ensues, whatever.
The
Pregnant
one
one
pregnant
falls
lady,
out of
she
the
falls out of the car and then gets picked up by the Joe gang.
not dead, not picked up, smushed. The opposite of picked up, in fact.
Right. Well, but then picked up. Yeah, I think this was the part you missed. They got her
Yeah.
body and
Well,
she
yeah,
like
they
they're
got her
like
body after they run over her.
right. Well, but they didn't fully mangle. They showed most of her body. It was okay. They were just
Right.
like, oh yeah, she's not going to survive, but maybe the baby will if you cut it out. Oh
Right.
no, the baby didn't survive.
And Furiosa looks at Max and she's like, "Hey, we need to go back for her." And he's like, "No, she went under the wheels." And she goes, "Did you see it?" And he says, "She went under the wheels." And she says, "But did
Right.
you see it?" And he goes, "She went under the wheels."
She went under the wheels.
She went under the wheels. She went under the wheels.
Right. That's all of those are what he sounds like in this
Yeah.
movie, actually.
She went under the wheels.
She went under the wheels.
He's definitely ADR'd.
Right. Well, they all are.
Everyone
This whole
is.
movie
Yeah, because
is,
of
yeah.
probably because of the sound of the engine.
Right. The sound of the engines and the desert.
But this is when Nicholas Holt gets back on the car, is after this, because he's with Immortan Joe. Immortan
Right.
Joe straps him to the
That's right.
rig.
Yeah. Morton Joe gives him the gun. He's like, you got this. Go get him, kid. Gives him some silver,
Yeah, a
and then
little pep talk. He's
he
like,
just
I will
immediately
carry you myself
oh
into
yeah. Then
Valhalla.
he just like immediately drops the gun and just gets slammed into the side of the rig. Yeah,
Right,
that's
right. And
good.
then that's what he's upset about a few scenes later. He's like,
Right,
man,
right,
he saw me not only let him down and let you guys get away, but he also saw me let his favorite wife die. Like, he'll never forgive me for this. Which
right.
it's wild that his
Wham,
arc
wham,
and
wham.
his change of character came because he let his god down by letting a woman die, that the man murdered himself. It's just a really
Right.
weird change of heart. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's strange, but I mean it fits this strange
So well.
story and specific, you know.
The world.
Yeah,
And
wasteland,
yeah.
horrible hellscape. Yeah.
Can we still say that this is just what Australia's like? Or is that time
Um,
past?
at least parts of Australia, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right. Like the middle.
Yeah.
Nobody goes to the middle.
Right.
Nobody
Yeah,
lives
that's
on
what
the
I'm
coast.
saying.
I'm sure like
Yeah.
somewhere right smack dab in the middle of Australia is this.
Right. It's probably exactly this. Yeah.
So they keep driving and they're driving towards the green place. I feel like
Right.
another big action car chase type moment happens after this, but I can't remember which one.
Um.
And I could be wrong about that. Oh, this is when
No,
the
I
car
think you're
gets
right.
stuck.
Yes, it is.
The
Yeah.
rig gets stuck.
Right.
And yeah, so it gets stuck in some mud because they're in like a swampy
This
type
is yeah, we
area.
get this is when we get the blue day for night. Um we see those weird guys on the stilts just hanging out in the
Yeah.
field.
Yeah,
That
the weird
was
on the stilts.
strange.
There's a
Didn't make any
tree.
sense. Yes, there is a tree.
And this
Yeah,
is when
they try
Nicholas
and use
Hoult, like, so the one mother, the redheaded one, was that
hmm,
Cheeto?
I think that
No,
was
Cheeto
Cheeto.
was Zoe Kravitz, right?
Oh yeah, Cheeto. No, Zoe Kravitz was Toast. Her name was
Toast,
Toast.
right? So this is Cheeto, presumably,
I mean, you have to assume,
right?
right?
She goes and she befriends Nicholas Holt, and she's very motherly to him, which makes
Right,
sense.
right,
Um, and so he determines, or he determines, I want to help. Like, I want to help you guys get to where you're going. I want to help you guys get to the green place. I want to go. Like, I'm done with Immortan Joe because I'm
right.
scared because I let him down.
Yeah.
So anyway, basically they strap the rig to a
Yeah,
tree. They're able to pull it
they hooked
free.
the chain around the tree and they were I think using like what looked like a car door as like
Yeah,
the thing to like drive it out, a little ramp wedge, whatever you
super
call that.
fun.
so silly and so cool. Yeah.
And there's
And then
the Bullet Town people are
at
on
some
their
point,
way.
Max is just trying to hold down the tree because it's getting pulled out of the ground.
Right.
And yeah, all the I think it was the Bullet Town, I think, or Bullet Farm and the Joe goons. I think we're rolling up on them.
So the Gastown people was the guy with the weird nose, but this was not him. This was the other guy, the one who becomes blind. So I think
that was Bullet Farm, because the guy who becomes blind, I have to assume was from Bullet Farm because
right. So the guy with the nose
bullets.
cover, the little like gold nose cover, the one with the weird ankles, I think he was Gastown, and so the guy who becomes blind was Bullet Farm. So Bullet Farm is the one who's right on their tail at this point. And Furiosa.
But I'm saying I think it's Bullet Farm and Golden Joe's goons. I think they're.
I'm sure Golden Joe's goons are like behind the one car, but I'm thinking of the one car with the big spotlight. Right. Because Furiosa shoots.
That was I think the one Bullet Farm guy, and then he gets the
It does get a little confusing with the three different groups, and
it's very tough to tell. They're all just wasteland people,
and they're all at different speeds, kind of catching up, and then they'll fall back, and then someone else will catch up and fall back. But that adds to the excitement, I think.
Yeah, it works now for sure.
And so she shoots the light. It blinds him. Max completely shakes off having a gun blasted right in his ear.
A high caliber sniper rifle being shot right in his ear.
But you'd think bro plays Fortnite.
Right. No, it was sick though. She used his shoulder as like a little steady whatever.
Like a tripod, basically.
Right, yeah. Stand. That's the way.
I used to make those for my paper guns.
Right. My paper Glock. My paper Glock with the scope.
But anyway, so they start driving and they see a big tower.
Yeah.
See a big tower. They drive towards it because Furiosa says, I remember something like this. Like, I remember.
Right. She goes, I remember this from Mad Max, the video game.
I remember this from Mad Max Furiosa, or Furiosa Mad Max Saga.
Right. The prequel film.
The prequel film that's not out yet at the time of recording. So they drive up to it. There's a naked woman in the tower. Max goes, that's bait.
Right.
And it is, but then it doesn't really matter that it's bait because they like her, because they're like, oh, you're Furiosa. I remember you, Furiosa.
I remember you from Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
But at this point, they all come to the conclusion, and also, Furiosa comes to the conclusion that the green place where she was headed and where she was taking all the wives.
Yeah, well, there was the like old ladies that were like I don't know what they were, old ladies.
Right. Furiosa basically says like, hey, we're headed for the green place. And then they all said, we passed that already. And it was the swamp.
It's gone. Yeah,
it was the swamp with the stilt people in it. Like, yeah, it does not exist anymore. So Furiosa gets all sad. She takes off her arm, which is funny.
That was a very funny scene. It was it was supposed to be, and it was this like legitimate dramatic scene. She walks into the desert, just like drops her arm. She seems so defeated. She just like looks up into the sky and screams. But it was it was very silly. Everything was orange, and she threw her arm on the ground. But no, it's a good scene. She's sad, and then she's not. Eventually, something happens. Makes her happy again. What happens?
She basically comes up with a plan. There's a lot of motorcycles.
Right.
She tells Max, she's like, hey, we're headed across this dried up sea. Head across this dried up sea. We all got motorcycles. One of them's for you. We want you to come with us. And Max is like, I'm okay.
That's stupid. You shouldn't do that.
he says, I'll find my own way or something. And then he, lets them leave, but then chases them with a really long motorcycle.
Right. We haven't talked about, because I think this is where it, comes to a conclusion. His weird flashbacks that he's getting throughout the thing that no one would understand unless they read a tie-in comic. I wouldn't. It works. It works. It's fine.
Right.
But
I haven't read the tie-in comic. I just found out recently it's from a tie-in comic.
Yeah, I only know that because you said that,
Right. There's
but
this little girl, and she's like, "You let us down, Max. You let us die."
there's a little girl. It shows her in the opening scene, and also like a bunch of other guys. But the little girl is the constant one that shows throughout the movie. She just like flashes randomly, and it's like an
Right.
embodiment of his grief and guilt and blah 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 blah. Blah. He's been wastelanding forever. He's wah, you know.
Should it have been his son?
I mean, maybe, probably,
Would it have
but
made more? Well, and I get why they didn't do his son, because this movie works unbelievably. It's the best sequel to work as a standalone, maybe ever.
right, yeah.
And so I get why they didn't do his son. The girl is a character that he let die in a tie-in comic, but it's also just supposed to represent all of the people he's ever let die.
Yeah, just the people he's let down, and just his general guilt about
Right.
not
It's
being
his
able to
grief,
save everyone. Yeah.
And so I get that. Part of me does wish it was his little boy though. What was his name?
Well, it wasn't his name. It was just like
It was like
some
Goober or
like it was some
something.
like Australian slang word for just child,
Yeah.
but they called it. Yeah, it was like fucking like grobnak or some shit.
Right. Gruber?
Maybe,
I think it was
yeah.
Gruber.
I don't think it was Gruber.
Was it Groob?
I don't think it was. It was something funny. I don't know.
I'm gonna Google it real quick because I need to
Pull
know.
that. Gingivitis, maybe.
Sprog.
Sprog, yeah,
How could I
Sprog.
forget the term Sprog? But it
Yeah,
should have been
it should have
Sprog,
been
I
Sprog
think.
for sure.
But I do get what they were going for. And yeah, so he's been having these flashbacks throughout every fight pretty much in the whole movie.
Right,
And it's been driving him crazy. And you can see even from the moment, like here, he has one big one and he like gets over it.
right. Yeah, this is yeah.
And you can see the instant kind of shift from this like crazy PTSD, doesn't understand why the world is doing the things that it's doing, Max, to not the same Max that we know from the other movies, but like a character who you'd want to follow for a film, right?
Right,
Because Max is
right.
very much like he's not interesting. He's very, very interesting, but he's not a hero until this moment, and he kind of becomes the hero of the story.
Right.
And you can see that like shift happen and that change and whatever. But yeah, I do think it would have worked a little bit better had it been Sprog.
I mean, it definitely should have been Sprog, mostly just because it's a funny name.
But the original idea for this, and I guess we could just go ahead and go on this tangent too.
May as well,
The
yeah.
original idea for this was that there were going to be 4 things releasing at the same time, relatively, that were going to tell a multi-media arc for bringing the Mad Max universe back. One of them was the Mad Max video game, which originally tied in a little more with this movie. It still ties in a lot with this movie.
Still does, yeah.
But it was going to be even more so. So it was the video game Furiosa, the movie that's just now coming out, was originally going to be a 3D animated movie in the style of Happy Feet, which George Miller also made.
Right.
There was going to be a 3D animated movie of Furiosa that's a prequel, this series of comic books, and then Mad Max Fury Road. And so all of these movies were supposed to come out kind of like at similar times, a few months apart, I think, leading to this one being kind of the culmination of the 3 stories into this final story. This was also written...
Right. And is this when it was still supposed to be like Logan, Mel Gibson, Logan, Mad Max?
Yes, which was supposed to be much earlier, which is kind of why all of this fell apart. Because this was supposed to be old man Mel Gibson Mad Max. And I think that definitely like
There's
see
still
that
like
a
it,
lot.
yeah. That still carries over. Like you can still definitely see elements and remnants of that in the way Mad Max acts.
Just like the grunting and the
right.
Like you can tell
in
the script it just said grunt, and
right.
Tom Hardy was just like
it said grunt and twitch and look around like a paranoid PTSD war vet,
for
you
sure.
know?
And we've jumped so far seemingly into the post-apocalypse where it absolutely feels like it's been 40 years since this happened instead of 10, which is what realistically it's supposed to. I mean, Max,
Max is
how
mad.
old do you think Max is in this? Like 33 something?
Yeah,
35 at the most.
right,
It feels like it's been 50 years since the post-apocalypse, not 10 or 15.
right.
But I'm kind of glad that wasn't what they did, because
Oh,
big
sure, yeah,
multimedia pushes like that don't typically work.
right,
I mean, Shadows of the Empire is one of those that they try to do, and I only remember the video game. But there was a
right.
board game and tie-in comics and like 3 books.
Sure, yeah.
Um, and this movie is great in spite of not having the rest of those
Right.
things.
No, it's awesome, and it's perfectly fine on its own. Just, I mean, just on its own, as a movie, as a Mad Max movie, as a Tom Hardy Venom Drenum,
In them,
it's a good movie. Well, all
Childish
that,
Gambino
yeah.
did scene with
Eminem,
Spider-Man. Now he's spitting venom. Anyway, so Max convinces
Prowler,
them.
I think,
He comes up with
actually.
a plan. He goes, "We're gonna head back to the Citadel, and we're gonna catch them in the overpass, they call it, but it's actually a canyon."
Yeah,
He goes, "We're gonna catch them there. We're gonna collapse the thing. We're going to make it back to the Citadel, and we're going to take over." And that's pretty much exactly what they do. It's once
and they
again,
do
it's a
that.
hard to
Yeah,
describe because it's a car chase.
it's yeah. I mean, it's a car chase, and it's awesome. The war rig is involved, and there's
Right. I mean, they
explosions.
drive the war rig right up the middle. They wind up blowing
Uh,
up Immortan Joe's car, basically.
yeah,
No, they rip
but
off his
not after,
face.
no, not after ripping his face off first. Yeah,
Right. They don't blow up his car. They just rip off his face.
I think they
And
do
it's
blow up his
awesome.
car.
No, because they drive his car up to the thing at the end.
I guess it was, no, it was earlier. His other car blew
Right.
up, the
The
truck
big wheel
one.
car does blow
Yeah,
up.
his big Hot Wheels truck blew up.
Um, and Nicholas Holt is with them. All the
Yep.
wives go up with Furiosa. She also rides up to the top. The assumption at the end of this movie, this one doesn't end with a voiceover.
Right.
Probably for the best. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah. Instead, it ends with a weird, vague quote.
Right. Which doesn't make, and it's a made up quote.
It's a made up quote from a made up person.
The first human, was that what it was?
It's like, yeah, the first, like, something. History man, I think.
The first
Many
historic
green
man.
people from history times.
But anyway, Furiosa is essentially the
She
idea, or what's
becomes
presumed is she's now the leader of the
yeah,
Citadel. Like, she's in charge, and she's gonna make things better for this huge group of
right.
people.
She's gonna make it the Green Land.
And then Max disappears back
And
into the
he's just, it
wasteland
just
where he
shows him in
belongs.
the fade into the crowd, into the desert, into the world.
So a few things.
Oh,
I
Rockatansky.
love Tom Hardy's version of Max
Mm.
Rockatansky.
Oh yeah. No, he's so cool. He's so weird. He's mad. He's probably,
He's
and not even
crazy.
probably, he is the most Mad
He
Max.
has PTSD. He's just tweaking.
He's just scratching at his head with a file, trying to get his
Um,
mask.
I think I probably prefer him to Mel Gibson's Mad Max. I definitely
Yeah,
remember him better.
right.
They're two different characters. I mean, just full
Right. Well,
stop.
one's a feral kid growing
Right,
up.
right. One's the feral kid. One's was a cop. Although they say at the beginning of this movie, he goes, "I was a cop."
I do. Yeah.
Um,
Well, maybe the
but
feral kid did a little policing. Who knows?
maybe, but they're two completely different characters, and that's probably for the best. It's probably
Yeah.
better
No,
that
it's
Tom
fine.
Hardy didn't try to do his best Mel
Right.
Gibson.
No, we were saying that when watching, that it's much better that he, for whatever the reason is, whether it's because of the way the character was written, because it was originally meant to be old Mel Gibson, or because of just the way Tom Hardy chose to play the character, some combination, whatever. It works. It's his own.
It works really well.
He's, you know, he'd just be grunting and
He's
saying
grunting
one or two words every 20-30 minutes.
No,
And
it
then
definitely works, and I think too, it works better. Like, it's way better than it would
Yeah.
have been otherwise, and so I'm
If it was just
glad.
him trying to just be Mel Gibson.
Right. I'm really
Which would have
glad
been
they did what they
interesting, and
did.
I'm sure he probably would have pulled it
I'm
off 'cause he's
sure,
a good
yeah, Tom
actor,
Hardy's
but
a
it would have
great
been like
actor.
it's, it's
I
just
also
like,
think
oh,
it's
I'm
probably
watching a
better
guy
than
do
it
an
would have been
impression.
if it were old Mel Gibson.
Oh, for sure. That also would have been very interesting, and
For sure.
I mean, I
If
still would love
if
to
George
see,
Miller tomorrow was like,
Right.
we've got a new Mad Max movie,
We got a new
and
we
Mel
got a new
Gibson
mid-mix
coming back
movie.
as Max. I'd be like, yes. You're telling me
Right.
the Fury Road guy is now going to put Mel Gibson in his movie? Um, this movie it's the best one.
Right. Yeah. He's
Like,
the most mad.
is as much as it's like, I hate to be the guy. It's very
I
rare
mean,
for a sequel like this to be the best of a
it's the one
franchise.
he was trying to make, the whole time he wanted to make a movie that's just a car chase.
Basically,
That's why he made Mad Max.
right.
That's what it was
And as
supposed to
much as I
be.
love
What
2,
each
and as
one was
much as I
trying
love
to be.
Thunderdome,
Right?
I think,
Both great
especially
movies.
2, Thunderdome still has its own merit. 2 has
Right.
no reason to exist now. I mean, it does because it paved the way, of course.
Sure.
But when Fury Road exists, and it's what Mad Max 2 was trying to be, and it's good,
Right.
I think it's almost like, do I need to watch Mad Max 2 ever again?
I mean, yeah, because this one doesn't have a twink that gets killed with a boomerang.
That is true.
It
That's
also doesn't have
true.
Lord Humongous. As cool as Golden Joe is, he's not Lord Humongous.
Immortan Joe is not the coolest villain.
Right.
He just does the coolest stuff.
Yeah.
He does have
He's just
full
in the coolest
concubines.
movie. Right. And he puts them in chastity belts with teeth.
Right.
That is, yeah. No, I do like that the villain of this movie is just a pimp. Like, that's just
right.
What this
he's
just
pimping
a post-apocalyptic pimp. Right. Yeah.
He's just, yeah. I like that. I don't know, but with, because you watch these movies for the car chase, right? You watch them for the action.
Yeah.
And I think, like,
I watch it for the orange, personally.
Right. This one.
Yeah.
I just
the blue is just an added bonus.
With that in mind, like with a movie that you're watching exclusively for the action of that movie, I think I'm giving it to this one over 2 any day of the week. And so for me, it makes it hard. I haven't seen Mad Max 2 in a very long time because anytime I get a hankering for Mad Max, I'm gonna watch this one.
You mean since we watched it 2
Well,
weeks ago?
yeah. No, I mean,
You
before we watched it 2 weeks ago, I had
right.
a long time.
Sure, no, I get that.
The special effects are spectacular.
Yeah, I feel like there's like, I'd say it's as likely. Like, I feel like next time I get a Mad Max hankering, I'll watch this movie. Then probably Beyond Thunderdome, and then 2. But I would watch 2 still, because I'd watch Beyond Thunderdome and I'd be like, I want this to feel grittier. I want it to feel realer. I want to see people's lives in danger, so I'd watch 2.
Right. I do get the sense, even though I know this one's more of like a Hollywood, it's safer.
Right. No,
whatever.
It does still
this
feel,
one,
because
this
they're
one
able
scratches
to
that itch.
Yeah, because they're able to touch up, like,
they're able to remove the wires.
They're safe stunts. Yeah.
They
make them look unsafe.
But I think if I'm ranking through all of the Mad Max movies, all 4 of them, it's this one, probably Thunderdome.
No, I'd say it fully goes. It goes 4, 3, 2, 1 for me.
Yeah, like, for sure. They keep getting better.
It's pretty straightforward.
Which I know most people don't like Thunderdome, and a lot of people don't like this one.
Most people completely disagree with our ranking. Probably they probably have the exact opposite.
This movie's probably the most popular of all of them, but like the hardcore Mad Max fans,
the pretentious nerds that are like, oh, the best one is the second one, and the first one is also really good, and the third one sucks, and the Fury Road sucks. The Fast and Furious Road.
Right.
Whatever
the hardcore Mad Max fans don't like this because it doesn't feel like a Mad Max movie. And I get that. It does.
Right.
It's better. It feels better.
But also it very much does. And it is also the most Mad Max feeling Mad Max movie.
Right. That's what we said when we were watching it. This and I'm
Yeah,
glad that you agree with me on that as someone who didn't watch this one as their first Mad Max movie.
right.
The sense
No,
I
my
get,
first Mad Max movie was the least Mad Max feeling
right,
one, which was the first one.
this movie, when we say like this is the movie George Miller wanted to make, number one, he said that, but also you
Right.
can feel that when you're watching it. If you watch all of
Yeah.
these movies in order, you can feel them just devolving into this because
Right.
he gets a
Yeah.
higher budget and he gets crazier with each one. But yeah, I think this movie, not only does it hold up, I think it's probably gonna hold up the best of the franchise long term.
Oh, for sure.
I think
Yeah.
in 30 years, people are gonna be watching this as like, how to make a car chase movie. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Well, they'll be watching it when Mad Max fucking 20 is coming out.
Starring,
You know.
I don't know, what's a tiny child actor right now?
Oh no.
Finn Wolfhard plays Max.
Right. Yeah. Any of the Stranger Things kids.
The kid from Henry Danger
Sure.
is playing
Yeah.
Max Rockatansky. Um,
Right. Why not?
but yeah, I like it a lot. I really do. Would you recommend this movie to a friend?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think I would, but not because of
Hmm,
quality,
okay.
but because I don't want to
Interesting.
recommend this to someone and then them watch it and be like, Dalton, what? What? You know what I mean?
Not really, but that's okay,
I
I
don't want
think.
to recommend this to someone and then them watch like the milking scene.
Oh,
You
sure.
know,
I guess.
I would recommend it to someone based on like, this is a great movie, but I wouldn't recommend it to someone in like, this is super weird and I don't want people to think less of me.
Sure, sure. Yeah. No, I mean I get that,
No,
I
I would
guess.
absolutely recommend this to people. That was just joshing.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're Dalton. Josh is our
Right.
incel friend. He
Right.
used to be on the podcast. Comment down below if you remember our friend Josh.
Yeah, I think it holds up. I think it will hold up. It will continue to. Dan, as we're kind of concluding, we're coming to the end of this. Would you like to let people know what we're watching next week?
Dalton, I would love to, but I haven't the foggiest idea what we're watching.
Well, there's
So,
two options for next week's sweep.
oh, are there?
Yeah, we've talked about
Do
two
I know
different
them?
things,
I'm sure we have.
and I was going to let you pick actually by just saying which one of them you wanted to watch
The
now.
the only one I remember was my suggestion, which was the baddest private dick. He's a bad mother. Shut your mouth.
Right, it was
Uh,
either Shaft Sweep or Superman
right.
Richard Donner
That's
Sweep.
the other one, Superman. Yeah, we'll do. Maybe we do both. We go Shaft 1, Superman 1, Shaft's big score, Superman 2,
Let's just do
Shaft.
Shaft. We're going to watch
Yeah,
Shaft.
we're watching Shaft. Uh, you know,
Will
that's
Shaft
a
make me as happy as Mad Max Sweep?
probably not, but I think it'll give you a different kind of feeling.
Right, Euphoria.
Probably.
Euphoria.
Shaft movies are all
Tubi?
sequels, legacy sequels. I don't know what that word is.
Tubi.
They all tie into each other.
Oh,
And
actually, next week I forgot. We're gonna start a thing where
are
we're
we are
just
we
gonna
breaking
watch.
it up? Are we
Yeah,
doing a little
next week. This is horrible. This is horrible production value for this podcast. Anyway, next week we're going to before we get into Shaft Sweep, we're gonna do some bottom of the barrel garbage we find on Tubi, and we'll watch that next week.
right.
We don't know what it is yet. We'll
Yeah,
find it
we're gonna
later.
call it to be or not to be.
We'll call it the
But I'm
horrible
not gonna
bottom of the
call
barrel garbage we found on.
we're gonna call it shit. Watch us watch shit. Poop from a butt.
Right.
Fart, piss, shit. Thanks
Don't
for
forget to
watching.
like
Join
and
us.
subscribe.
Join us next week when we watch Garbage, and then next month when we watch Shaft, and also
Shaft.
Shaft in Africa, and also Shaft 2000, and also Shaft 2019,
And also Shaquille O'Neal.
and also Steel, starring
O'Neal.
Shaq O'Neal.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching. Share with your friends. Comment down below and send this to your mother.